Hold up, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
Jack Della Maddalena is the new welterweight champion. Let's talk about it.
So, as you guys all saw, JDM has now become the welterweight champion. And listen, for 1 second, finally, everybody, what I've been saying for the longest time, I've said it in the previous video. I said it in the video that we recorded before this video, kind of giving a prediction. Put some respect on Belal Muhammad's name, because now everybody's now saying, wow, this man actually does in fact have hands. So let's go ahead and give him his props. We're putting on a phenomenal fight against JDM, but JDM became champion, much like in that same video I was just referencing, we predicted. And why did we predict that? Because of what's going to happen now. Islam Makhachev is going to go up in weight and is going to be fighting JDM for that title. In fact, on the night of, Islam was firing off a bunch of tweets to JDM, basically saying, keep my title clean. You're not Volkanovski. I'm going to show you a different level. Things of that nature. I'll put in those tweets here in the video. Now, with that being said, a number of things for us to talk about here. First of all, there's one thing that I, off the bat, don't like. People are referring to this as a mega fight. I don't like it because it's not a mega fight. Islam is a big name, absolutely. He's bringing his half of the big fight. JDM is not. And no disrespect to JDM, he's definitely an established name in the game. He definitely deserves his props. But this isn't some of two world. I would respect much more a Volkanovski and Islam is considered as a mega fight. Both great names, both phenomenal fighters, top tier of their class, so on and so forth. But that's besides the point. The actual fight itself. Listen, we have seen Islam basically dominate every single fight that he's been in. Now, mind you, obviously, it's been at the 155 division, but the 170 division is now where he's going to be going. And I'll be honest with you, I favor Islam. I know a lot of you probably favor Islam as well. Islam has been too dominant, too well in almost every single fight that he's handled against basically every single person that he's fought. So even though I truly do like JDM as an individual, seems like a very nice guy, very humble, so on and so forth, there have been a number of interviews where Belal has said when he's wrestled with Islam just pushes him over. These are not my words. These are Belal's words. That being said, if JDM struggled as much as he did with Belal, imagine what Islam is going to do. And that's one of my biggest reasons right now. We have a common indicator between both JDM and Islam. That's Belal. Belal, on a number of different occasions, has said that Islam is just levels ahead of him, wrestling-wise as an individual. So, of course, I'm going to favor Islam for that reason. Now, I tell people this all the time, and it proved right. Very recently, where we had picked Ryan Garcia in a boxing fight against Raleigh, and I always told people in that same video, I said, don't ever count somebody out, and the same is going to go here. I'm not counting JDM out. The man definitely stands a chance, but I do think that Islam has everything that JDM has in spades. The only thing that maybe JDM can rely on is the fact that he's a bigger guy than Islam, but I'll be honest with you, it's not that big of a difference, when you're flat on your back. So hopefully JDM comes with some sort of decent game plan to counteract the wrestling that I'm sure we will eventually see from Islam in this match. Because if not, it's going to be a one-sided fight the entire night. Either way, even if JDM brings his A game, I personally have Islam Makhachev winning that fight. I have him winning that fight via unanimous decision. I think it's going to go the distance, but I think if it does go the distance, it's definitely going to be in Islam's name. What do you think about that, my man?
I think the trajectory is kind of obvious where it's going to go, because it's basically all been officially made that Islam is actually going to go up in weight to face JDM. The question that I guess I really have, whatever, is politically speaking within the UFC, because I know Dana White has actually made mentions that they're now getting rid of the champ status. So the big question, I guess, at the end of the day is, I know Islam is saying that he's not going to let go of the belt, but he's still going to move up in weight. The big question is, at the end of the day, is A, Dana gonna allow that, and B, if Dana doesn't allow it and Islam does get is gonna have to relinquish the title that he has right now, the big question is who's gonna fight for that title next? Because I know we already talked about the big possibility of before the fight, if Belal loses, is Israel gonna go, or is Islam gonna go up, I should say. And now that we have that question of now that Belal is gone as champion, and now that Islam doesn't have to fight anybody within his own camp, cool. What happens to Islam's belt now? And I don't exactly have a big idea of what's going to happen, because again, we're not entirely sure of what's going to happen afterwards. I do think that is a big question that I think we have to ask ourselves at the end of the day. But I do think, yes, between these two, I think JDM has fought one champion level opponent, and I do think it's against this gentleman that he beat right now, Belal Muhammad. Whether he has the wherewithal to take on Islam, I think he'll give Islam a good fight. Whether or not he's actually gonna beat him, I don't think so. I think it's a 80-20 chance that he has to beat Islam. Islam's just way too much into his prime. I think he's at the head, basically at the top of his game right now. And I do think for Islam, it might be maybe just a little bit of a challenge. I think the things working against them are the only thing that's going to be working against Islam is the weight. But beyond that, I don't think JDM's that level of competition that Islam's going to prove any challenge. Again, the big question that I have at the end of the day is what's going to happen to Islam's belt? Is it going to stay on him, or is Dana White gonna play politics and say, no, we're standing firm on this no champ status. It's firm and clear. We're not doing anything more with that. I think that's the big question that we should be asking ourselves at the end of the day.
I think it's a minor question, if I'm being honest. To be honest with it, whether he keeps it or not, I don't think it really matters in the long win of the things. Again, he defended against everyone that he could at the 155-pound division. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed because now we're probably not going to get the Ilya versus Islam fight. So honestly, I don't think it's of that much consequence. But listen, man, John Jones came out just this past weekend, and he was asked a question about Islam, and he said he's new to the game, but he's got a lot of good years ahead of him. Basically saying that he does believe that Islam has a bright future ahead of him as far as what's going to be going on in his career moving forward. But listen, it's going to be an interesting fight. Again, we're both clearly favoring Islam at this point. I think there's just too many things to reach for JDM, unfortunately, that are just barely out of his reach. Islam is probably going to do what he always does, drag him into deep waters, and then, obviously drown him to a decision. But listen, again, I say this all the time, and I'll say it again, do not count any fighter out. You never know. All it takes is one perfectly landed punch at the right moment in time, and that's the end of it. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see, and with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.